Right, Saturday, 3 p.m. Chelsea are looking to make it 3 wins out of 3 with the trip to Turf Moor to face off against Vincent Kompany's Burnley. And in this video, we are going to preview that match. Here to help me do so is my good friend and channel fan favourite, Josh Aveste. Josh, what's happening, mate?
Yeah, good, mate. I'm ready for another big win. We need to get a convincing one, right? So let's talk about that. Is it going to have to be a convincing result?
I don't think it's going to be Newcastle against Sheffield United style convincing, but I'm going to be honest with you, mate. I'd hope to get maybe 3 goals past these lot. You'd like to think we could, wouldn't you?
Yeah, absolutely.
Look, I think that going into this match now, there's a feel-good feeling around the club, isn't there? Also, it's a way you look at the support we had last night at Craven Cottage, a match that I was at. We completely dominated the noise at Craven Cottage last night, and I'm hoping we can do something similar at Turf Moor against Burnley. But obviously, getting off to a good start and converting chances early on is going to help us, die out the noise of the Burnley fans. And I think the team need it right now. So going into this match, how optimistic are you of getting a win?
I think we should be able to do it now. Like, we got the run of form. The teams that we've just played and beat are better than Burnley. And ultimately, this is probably your second or third easiest fixture of the entire season. Fair enough, being at home would be better, but Burnley, come on, they're not good. And we talked about this in the kickoff, didn't we, about the 3 teams that came up and how bad they actually are. I just think they are so far off it this year that you're just going, we need to be beating them. And I agree, I think we need to be absolutely demolishing them. And so, when Man United, are not convincing against them, you're going, what's going on here? But this is a statement. If we go now and we absolutely destroy them, we're better than those boys, and we should be pushing up now and getting a feel-good factor. And the elephant in the room here is that we've got these awful fixtures coming up. So we need every bit of momentum that we can to take into those, don't we? It's such a shame that we have the international break to break it up. But, let's hope we can get a good result nonetheless.
Yeah, I think I speak for you, me, and everyone watching this channel right now when we say we hate the international break. It's such a load of bollocks, isn't it? We just want club football 24/7, all the football, all the time. But I'm looking at Burnley and I'm like, do you know what? They very much underwhelmed me. I put them as 11th in the table in my pre-season prediction. They won't get nowhere near 11th, you know what I mean? They ain't been great. But I do think out of those teams that came up, they've probably got the most chance of staying up. Obviously, we saw Luton get a big win on the weekend, but Burnley are a team that I believe, and I don't want to speak too soon on this, that we should be putting to the sword. Look, would I take a 1-0 win? If you said to me now, you can win the game 1-0 and you can guarantee that, or there's uncertainty. You could win it 4, but you could lose it. I'd go, I'll take the 1-0 win. Do you know what I mean? So, and obviously, another thing as well is teams like Burnley, probably an average age, a fair bit higher than our team. Maybe not the exact amount of Premier League know-how and experience of our team, and the quality is a lot better, but a squad that have been together for quite some time, a manager that's been there for quite some time, and they've got that stability factor going in their way and obviously at home in this match. But I do think it's a match we got to be putting a few goals past them in, surely.
Yeah, absolutely. And you look at that team, right, and you say about experience and how far they've been together. Fair enough, a lot of those players are still there. They're still there from the Championship. But they're nothing like they used to be. Do you remember when we used to play Burnley? I was always a bit worried about them. And they are a little bit, sometimes, of a bogey team because they've got the guile. They've got that experience. They play football in a slightly dirty way back in the day, under Dyche, right? It was sort of, old school football, wasn't it? That 4-4-2. They had big men up front, knock it down and play off that. Now it's very, very different. They're a complete technical team, and this is why they are getting a bit opened up this season, because they don't necessarily have the quality that Vincent Kompany needs to dominate in the Premier League, and they are gettable. There is space opening up there, and I just don't think they have that spirit and that mentality that they had of Brexit teams, of Burnley teams of old, because Sean Dyche was just playing the game in a completely different way. Vincent Kompany is almost like chalk and cheese with the way that Dyche used to play.
The way we associated Burnley is absolutely nothing how they are now. And you know what? Although it's so much better on the eye, I think they'd have accumulated more points this season if they did play the old Burnley way. I know that Man United ain't going there and getting that 1-0 win against them if they're playing the old school Burnley style that we were used to and that we had sort of almost grown up on in a way. So I do think it's a game where we're going to be able to cut through and we're going to be able to open up on them. And obviously, I'm very much happy to see us give them more possession like we have over the last few matches, if that means we are going to create spaces in behind. But with the personnel we've got, we're obviously going to create spaces in behind. And as I say, I think we're going to get a few goals here. So I will obviously drop my final thoughts video on this game probably on Friday morning, where I'll give my lineup. But let's have your lineup. Bearing in mind, we're recording this early in the week. Things can change. We know that obviously Caicedo went off with maybe a knock, as did maybe Mudryk. But we're actually led to believe that Mudryk isn't that bad and he could have stayed on the field. So he'll be back in, I'm hoping. Let's have your lineup. What formation are you going with?
Okay, I'm going to go for 4-2-3-1 because we've seen that that's the most successful for us. And I think that's what Poch is going to stick with. And look, this is my team. I'm going to try and do it fairly realistically here because, like, you know, I could go wild and get Jackson and bro, you're in the same team, but I don't think that's necessarily going to happen. So look, let's just go into it now. I think the back five will stay almost exactly the same. So I think Sanchez in goal, Cucurella on the right, Thiago Silva next to him, Disasi, and then Cole on the left-hand side. I think that's basically how we're going to set up now for the time being until Gusto comes back. Can I just say, I can't believe that's still a 3-match ban. What a weird one.
You'd have thought by now that had been overturned. And it's funny because people, like, no one made a thing of the Malo Gusto thing, right? The Malo Gusto sending off, no one made a thing of it. However, a lot of people have spoken about the Curtis Jones sending off and going, oh, it's too harsh. It's almost like you can't put a challenge in nowadays. And I'm thinking, the Curtis Jones one was way worse than Malo Gusto's one. Worse. So it's a head scratcher, that, isn't it?
Yeah, I think they should have appealed it. I don't know. Like, this is the thing. Like, you never know if the club has appealed it, which is a bit of a weird one. Like, I can understand if they've appealed it and it's been turned down, but to not even appeal it would be mad.
But then they do say that every cloud has a silver lining, and the silver lining comes in the form of Marc Cucurella at the moment. He's doing well there. So it's not, it's obviously a weak position. Obviously, if Cucurella went out, then we're in real trouble, but it's a position at the moment that, you know, we've got a plaster over the wound and it's faring pretty well, isn't it?
Yeah, you just got to hope that it doesn't come unstuck. You know, you really hope that he carries on playing and keeps the form. I think that's the thing with Cucurella, isn't it? We saw sometimes he can have a very good game and we go, is he able to then sort of capitalise on that and keep playing on? And in the past, he hasn't been able to do that. So I just hope he does maintain that momentum. He was so good against Fulham. So yeah, let's just keep him there and hope that he carries on playing so well. It's interesting, mate. Colwell, again, we were saying, is Colwell good enough in that position? And we want to see him, you know, come into the centre of defence. And after the Fulham match, again, he's another one that you can't move it. Like after a dominant win like that, another clean sheet, you can't change it. So this is, I would almost like to roll the dice and sort of make some of those changes. Maybe give Thiago a bit of a rest, but like he was immense. Disasi was immense. So like let's just stick.
I think that back line, you just stick with it. You just stick with it now. It's looked good. Both matches recently, obviously. Even before that, it's been looking good. Like, even when we weren't being clinical enough in front of goal, there wasn't really any worries about the defence. I get it. We conceded 3 against West Ham. It can happen, you know. But for the most part, there wasn't massive worries about the defence. Defence has always been good. Even last season, the defence weren't bad when we were losing games all the time. It was never that bad. It was our creativity and our composure in front of goal. And hopefully now we've turned a corner there. So in front of that defensive line, who's the 2 that you'd have in your pivot?
I think that Enzo is going to carry on playing, obviously. I think Caicedo is the one that I'm worried about, right? He's had a lot of worry about him around injuries. He played for Ecuador with strapping on his leg, which was really concerning. And then last night it's strapping on a knee, which gets me really, really worried. So actually, I'm going to take him out for this one. I have a feeling that he might not even make the bench just because of how the injuries are going. So let's see how he comes back. Hopefully he is fit and hopefully he starts, but I don't think he will. So I'm
really disappointing though if he does come out. And I get that, you know, we have got a bit of depth there and it's not the worst thing. Ugochukwu can come in. We've got Lavia to come back. But after the performance we saw against Fulham, because I'm right that you'd agree with me, he was pretty immense against Fulham, wasn't he?
Yeah, I thought he was. And again, my man of the match. So yeah, I'd be gutted if he dropped out, but I could just see it being like that. So I'm actually going to go and slap Ugochukwu in there. I thought when he came on, he looked very solid, and I don't think he's really put a foot wrong for us. So having those 2 as a pivot, I think would be more than enough. Ugochukwu is strong as well, and I think he'll break up play against Burnley very, very well.
Let's move on. Before we go to the wings, who have you got in your number 10?
I think you keep Gallagher there. And again, you know, you rotate those boys, as you were saying yesterday. You know, that midfield 3 against Fulham was immense. They were quality. Like, that was by far our best area, right? And they're all looking like they're building a bit of a relationship together now. So again, like, for me, he is just leading by example. As you say, he is the captain. So let's just leave him in there. And I think he can really disrupt things in the sort of like that final third. And that's where we got the goals from. You know, we were able to sort of break up play.
Do you know what's funny about our number 10 role at the moment, right? Number 10s, we think of the creativity and obviously, you know, the little through balls and stuff like that Cole Palmer was playing against Brighton, and that's a brilliant thing to have in a number 10. We also think about him chipping in with goals. The two players that we've sort of played in number 10 recently in terms of Gallagher and Enzo. Enzo, absolutely phenomenal player, one of the best in the world in his position. At the moment, his shooting is probably his worst trait, I would say. His shooting isn't very good at the moment, but hopefully it'll come good for him. Gallagher, another one that we've seen score a few bangers, long ranges and whatnot, and he can get on the goal sheet, but we don't associate him with, you know, finishing all that quickly. And obviously a number 10, maybe you'd want that from them. But actually, I look at the way that Gallagher's like winning the ball. He's the player in our team that has won possession the most times in the final third out of anyone there. So the way he's winning the ball and then able to quickly distribute it out wide or on to Nicholas Jackson or Broha, whoever's starting in that number 9, I think that there's more than one way to skin a cat. And I do think that that's a part of the sort of number 10 position that maybe we don't straight away think, okay, a ball winning number 10. But actually, when we're playing this high press at times and we're putting the pressure on opposition very, very early when they get on the ball, Gallagher's perfect for it, isn't he?
Yeah, he is absolutely brilliant. And that's why, look, let's just keep him there and keep him playing. I love the way he wins the ball so high up. And I do honestly think he is one of the better players that we've got shooting and able to score goals, as you say. So let's just keep him there. Like, these things aren't broken. Why are we changing them now? Like, they're working, and that more advanced position totally suits him. So yeah, let's just play him there.
Right wing.
So this is now where it gets interesting, right? Mudryk, I feel, is going to be injured and will only make the bench for this game. So we can't be playing him. Broja is coming back from a 10-month injury, and obviously you've got Jackson coming back. So that's an interesting one. And then on the right-hand side, Cole Palmer played very, very well, but you've got Sterling coming back, right? So look, I'm going to give like rather than my rogue pick, which is what I did last time we were doing this, I'm going to give my realistic pick about what I think will happen. I think it will be Sterling on the left-hand side, because Mudryk isn't going to be fit enough. I think it will be Jackson through the middle, because I think they'll want to input Broja a bit more slowly, and I think they'll want to give him time. And then on the right-hand side, that's a really interesting one, mate. What do you think about, who would you put on that right wing?
It's got to be Cole Palmer. It's absolutely got to be Cole Palmer, I would say. And do you know what? I would say it's got to be Cole Palmer in the 10. I rate Gallagher massively, massively highly. However, what I would say is we saw Gallagher and Enzo in the pivot against Liverpool and actually thought it looked really good. And I would have Gallagher in my lineup, which obviously I'll drop later on in the week. But I would probably have Gallagher back in the pivot. I think that, yeah, he's looked good in that 10. And we've at times said, you know, especially for Palace. For Palace, he plays as a winger at times, you know. But what I would say is when you look at his statistics coming from that deeper role, they've been really impressive. Now, some people might say, well, of course, because he's the player that's played the most. But, you know, Enzo's been in there. Other players could have put up those sort of numbers, especially defensive players. It's not just in the midfield that he ranks highest for all those statistics, including sort of possession one in the final third, possession one in the middle third, tackles one, duels one. It's not just in the midfield he's ranking highest for that. It's in the whole 11. So I would say that he can do a very good job there. So if it was me, I would have Gallagher in the pivot and I would have Cole Palmer in 10, because I think that although Cole Palmer looked brilliant on the right wing again, I think his better position is that 10. But if you're not having him in the 10, I just don't think you can not have him in the team. And there will be people that scream for Madueke and Maatsen, and I understand that. But it's one of the problems that comes with having such strength in depth. Players are going to miss out at times.
Yeah, and look, I was thinking about Madueke as well, and I was strongly considering putting him in the team, because I feel whenever we've seen him, he beats men, he's able to get balls in the box, and he can shoot. I really, really like him. But the disciplinary stuff, like the, you know, going to clubs, when, you know, going to nightclubs in the middle of when you're they're injured, it's not a good look. And there obviously has been a big slap on the wrist there to not even make the match day squad and then be in the team yesterday and not even come on, or come on very late. I mean, what does 1 minute matter in the game like this?
But I tell you one thing that I do rate with Pochettino, we've seen it over the years at Southampton and Spurs and whatnot. There's different types of disciplinarians and there's different types of disciplines. You look at Ten Hag, right? It's almost like he cuts ties with players once they get on the wrong side of him. And, you don't see him ease back in. Whereas Poch will give you your telling off and he will give you your punishment, but he'll be fair to you in terms of the process of bringing you back as well. So I think we will see Madueke back in there. But for me, it'd have to be Palmer in the right wing position. Who are you going with there?
I agree with that, mate. I agree. I'd put Palmer there. Look, I was weighing it up and I was thinking, do we slap Noni in? But I don't think he's got as much match fitness. And this is the chicken and egg. It's difficult to get the match fitness unless you're playing. And, he hasn't even been coming off the bench enough. So, again, I think it will be Cole Palmer. He was like the second or third man of the match. I thought Conor Gallagher definitely deserved it against Fulham. But for me, Caicedo was the man. But probably second, was Cole. So, he deserves it and he deserves to be starting the next game.
Well, saying that, I'm going to look into my crystal ball now and I'm going to tell you, not only does Cole Palmer start, Cole Palmer bags his first Chelsea goal. He's got a couple of assists now and he's going to get his first Chelsea goal in that match. Before I give mine, let's have your score prediction for the game.
I'm going to go 4-0.
4.
Why not? Let's get bullish. Mate, honestly, I have lost my head after the Fulham match. I have totally lost it. And I'm here for it. I'm here for it. I'm getting gassed up. If we get 4 goals, imagine how buzzing we're going to be when we film the next match review.
Oh, mate, honestly. Do you know what, mate? I can't see us conceding. I really can't, especially Burnley. Not much firepower, not a proven goal scorer. I'm going to go 3. I'm going to be slightly less bullish than you, but 3 goals away at Burnley. It's not too bad. It's not too bad at all. People, to show your appreciation for Josh coming back on the channel once again, his channel is linked in the description. Please click on it. Please subscribe and show him some love. We will be live on the kickoff on Sunday. So obviously we'll be watching. What are we watching?
Can't even remember.
Can't remember. Doesn't matter. It's not Chelsea. Who cares? It does matter. Make sure you're there. We'll be live. We'll be talking about the game we're watching, which Josh is going to have a quick look now and find out what it actually is. It's Man City Arsenal, isn't it?
I don't even have any service.
God knows, I don't know. Anyway, we're watching a game, all the football, all the time, but we will be reacting to obviously the Chelsea game, the Chelsea win, I should say, that is pending. So make sure you're there, get in the chat, and we will be able to interact with you on Sunday from the kickoff. I will obviously be dropping my post-match review on Saturday evening, and when this video goes live, I will be reading all of your comments. I'll try and get back to as many of you as I possibly can. So please, 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 let me know your thoughts. Get your lineup predictions in if you've got time to put them. If not, score predictions. I'd love to hear how you lot see this match going. If you are not already, please do me a massive favour. Subscribe to the channel, hit the bell so that you get a notification every time one of my video goes live. I'm out of breath. I'll see you in the next one.